Rapper Prodigy, who's a member of the New York hip-hop duo Mobb has died. The exact cause of death was not clear.
You
got this power that people call God. There's many names for it. Allah, God, the creator, the most high. But the power exists. Some people, they don't like to admit that power exists, or they just don't believe it. They're atheists, you know what I mean? But me personally, I know there's a higher power, and you know that power is real. That power is like, it's one force, right? It's one God force on this planet. And we are given free will to do what we want with that power. You could use that power for good, and then you could use that power for evil too. But there's only one power. So when people say the God and the devil, nah, there's only one. But you could use that force for bad. That's what these people are playing with. They're playing with that energy that exists out here that we all have access to.
Was Prodigy sacrificed by the Illuminati, sacrificed by the Black Boule Society, sacrificed by the Freemasons, sacrificed by the Hollywood satanic elite? Or was he simply chosen by God to be sacrificed for God? What up, everybody? Esoteric Eddie here. Namaste. In this video, we're going to be watching a compilation of clips having to do with the rapper Prodigy of Mobb and his thoughts on life, spirituality, God, the devil, Illuminati. Now, I don't need to tell you much about him. If you don't know, he is one of the most infamous rappers of all time, played a huge role in hip-hop, played a huge role in my upbringing. And just so you know, he was the very first rapper to mention the Illuminati on a major scale within the mainstream. And I never really thought about that, but he said the famous line, you know, Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Secret society trying to keep an eye on me. And that just went over most people's heads. This was in the 90s, so he was way ahead of many people in the mainstream, in the underground, in music in general, specifically in hip hop. I mean, now everybody's got songs about Illuminati, this and that. But it was powerful for him to have mentioned that back in the day. And in these clips, you're gonna watch and hear how basically his entire life revolved around waking up to the truth. Now, of course, Prodigy passed away a few years ago. Rest in peace, or as I like to say, live in paradise. It's interesting to me when we get the chance to see somebody's entire life from beginning to end. We are still alive. We don't know how our story is going to come to a close. I always feel like you can see the moments where God interjected and changed that person's life, or gave them certain signs that they either heeded or did not heed. Prodigy's life is very interesting because you can tell from the moment he was born, he was chosen by God for a specific purpose. A lot of people would say that, you know, he sold his soul or something, or he was sacrificed by the Illuminati, but I think that he was actually chosen by God and was eventually sacrificed by God. It's clear to me. And as you watch these clips and the progression of his life from beginning to end, you'll see, and I think you'll agree also, that he was not sacrificed by the devil. He was chosen and sacrificed by God, but that came with the price. People think that when God chooses you, that it's going to be all blessings, all nice. No, when God chooses you, you have to also pay a price. I mean, look at Jesus. He had to pay a very painful price.
I got a lot of family history that's deep that people didn't know about. Well, my great-great-great-grandfather, he founded and built Morehouse College from the basement of his Baptist church in Augusta, Georgia. And his son, one of my other great-grandfathers, was a Republican senator in Atlanta, and he actually opened up the first post office in Atlanta, Georgia for black people, because before then the blacks had to travel way out of their way for postal service, you know what I mean? So he petitioned and made it happen, and he opened up the first post office in Atlanta, Georgia, in the black neighborhood. My mom was in the same group called the Crystals. They had the hits like Do Run Run and all that.
No, what was the other song? The Do Run Run, and there was another.
Like Rockin' Robin. There's different, a lot of different things. Like,
P, those are huge classic songs, though.
Yeah, definitely, man. I came up, you know, when I was a little kid, seeing all that, you know what I mean, and seeing my mother talking about that and all that. My father was in the same group called the Chanters. They wasn't as big as my mother, but he was in the group. Then my grandmother, she owned, operated, and built her dance school business from the basement of her home in South Jamaica, Queens. And she built it into a multi-million-dollar business. She had the #2 dance school next to Alvin Ailey in New York, you know what I mean?
That's incredible.
So
that's
I grew up around
legacy.
show business, you know what I'm saying? Like, my grandfather was a jazz musician in the Jazz Hall of Fame. I had a lot of show business, and you know, growing up, I came up around a lot of concerts with like Diana Ross and Michael Jackson, and like, man, rest in peace to Mike, man, because he was a big inspiration to me wanting to be successful in life. I thought I was Michael Jackson when I was little. Like, yeah, I know the people that created like the Thriller dances and the Beat It, all the famous moonwalks and all that
The choreographers.
stuff. Yeah, my grandmother raised those choreographers. I was diagnosed with sickle cell anemia, SS type. That's like the worst form. When I was 3 months old. Sickle cell is, for the people that don't know, is a hereditary blood disorder where my blood cells don't carry enough oxygen, and when a blood cell doesn't carry enough oxygen, my blood cells change shape into a sickle shape. That's where the name comes from. And then they interlock with each other. And then it's like a domino effect. They all start interlocking, and wherever that happens at, that's where the pain happens, as excruciating pain. Like, it's to the point where I can't even move. They have to pick me up or put me in a wheelchair and carry me to the hospital. Like, I can't move my body, I can't move my legs or anything, because the pain is just incredible.
So again, I think this disease that he was born with was a part of the deal that he made with God before this life, or maybe during this life subconsciously, to be given knowledge, to be given wisdom and experiences.
My relationship with God was crazy, and it made me not believe in God. It made me have arguments. I'm actually having conversations with God, like, why the fuck are you doing this to me? Like, you know what I'm saying, as a little kid. So when I learned all this information, it creates sort of a new relationship with God now. I kept asking God this question over and over and over and over and over again. Show me something.
Okay.
Right now.
Right now.
Stop fucking playing with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, God is within me and all around me. I respect God, but show me what the fuck is going on. This is real life, man.
Okay.
What the fuck? Show me something, man. Is this shit real? Like, this really happening out here?
Right. What did you see?
And I seen a UFO. I'm in the car driving. My man Godfather's in the passenger seat. My man's in the back, Timex, right? We driving, we talking about the song we just made, we talking everything, we talking, chilling, we going home. All of a sudden, this big ass green, the shit was just like, and it looked like something just went past the planet.
Okay.
That's how big it was. Like,
right.
I don't know what the fuck, dog,
Right.
but listen to me. The shit was humongous, dog. It was like the size of the planet, and it was on fire, and it had a tail, and it was like glowing green, dog. No other color. I swerved my car.
Right.
And then the car in front of me, I looked, and he was swerving too.
He swerved out the way.
So he must have seen this shit too.
Right.
Because he was swerving just like me, yo.
Right.
I look at these niggas, I'm like, yo, did you see that shit just now? He's like, nah, what? What happened? And he showed it to me. It was for me to see. Not nobody else, except for the driver in the front of me, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So now the second time, I'm mad. I'm asking God, yo, you gotta show me something, man. Give me a witness. Please, yo. I'm begging God. Like, this is serious, dog. I'm begging God. Again, this time, I'm coming from the studio. Park, go upstairs, my wife in the bed, my kids in their room. All of a sudden, all the power out in the crib. I'm like, damn, it's fucking blackout, right?
Right.
So I go look out the window to see if the other houses is blacked out. It's just my crib, like somebody just running my crib or something. I look down the block, because I can see this way down the block and I can see this way down the block. The whole neighborhood is black. Even the little, we got on the mountaintop, it's like a little flashing little light for the plane and shit. That shit was out. There's no light, there's blackness outside. That shit was crazy.
Okay.
I'm like, damn, it's blackout. I'm like, fuck it. So I get in the bed, you know what I'm saying? Like, fuck it, gotta go to sleep now.
Right.
So as soon as I sit down in the bed and go to lay down like this, all of a sudden, a bright white light shine down in front of my bedroom window. Like, it was like right there. Whatever it was like
Not
above
moving,
my
it was
house.
just right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, it looked like a helicopter searchlight.
Right.
It's dead quiet, dog. There's no sound at all. Big white light was shining down on my crib.
Right.
And in front of my bedroom window. I tap my wife, I'm like, yo, get up. I'm like, look at this shit, yo. So she wake up, I'm like, yo, look, what the fuck is that? She opened her eyes and looked. As soon as she looked, it just started changing colors. The light started changing red, yellow, blue,
green. Did it go green again?
Every color.
Right.
And we looking at this shit. I'm like, yo, you see this shit? She's like, yeah. Then the shit just stopped. It went black again.
And so, of course, as he went through his experiences, he would eventually wake up to the truth. He started reading a lot, researching a lot, and putting it into his music. So it was destined for him to go through the life experiences that he had to eventually hit that awakening point. I think that many of us are destined to have these awakenings. Some of us are chosen to have these awakenings. And it's kind of like a ticking time bomb. We're all meant to go through it at a certain time in our life. And so when he went through it, he really had that choice now of whether to serve the dark and have commercial success with his music, or serve the light and still be successful, but not reaching the masses like his opponents, but yet reaching the hearts and minds of those of the light, or those who are in the darkness who needed to be turned to the light. And so his awakening really was a pivotal moment for him, and I think saved him from what could have been a life of much more torment and hell, and maybe, an afterlife of torment and hell if you subscribe to such a thing. And obviously I've done videos explaining how hell never really existed. And it's not that hell doesn't exist, it's just that we misunderstood what Jesus was really trying to say about it. But as you've heard me say, if you've watched these videos, I still believe that hellish dimensions do exist. And what we do in this life will determine what sort of dimensions of consciousness we experience afterwards.
I was reading a lot about the Illuminati and secret societies and religions. It got to the point where I had just started learning so much, and I started understanding it, and then I started putting it in my lyrics. It was just like mixing a little bit of medicine with the food. You know what I mean? That's what Havoc used to always say, like mixing medicine with the food. Give them a little bit of information in there, you know what I mean, amongst all the hardcore lifestyle shit that we used to be talking about. You know what I'm saying? Give them some real knowledge in there.
How did you begin to awaken?
It was about 1989. There was this guy named Dr. York. He had a community in Brooklyn called the Ansar Law community. I was only like 16.
I grew up in Long Island until I was like 12. And then I moved to Queens, I moved to Left Rack. But in Long Island, they had the Gods and the Earths, like the 5% Nation, the Nation of Islam. It's not the same thing, but affiliated in a way. It always was intriguing to me because they was out there hustling and doing their thing, but at the same time, they had a lot of knowledge. I had a group of friends in school, and we were all interested in this information, and we were actually cut out of school to go to the library because we realized that school wasn't teaching us about the history of our culture and our people. I had bumped into some other books that these Muslim brothers used to sell on the streets. The author was Dr. Malachi Z. York. His books just opened my eyes even wider. Simple things like when you say amen after you pray, like where does that come from? Like the origin of the Bible, the origin of the Quran.
I realized that, this dude was teaching, people, especially black people, about our origin and where we come from and how we have a great history in this world, and how we were basically brainwashed, and soul washed of all of our history and of who we are and everything.
Well, that's right.
When Obama was running, that was the first time it made me interested in watching politics, right? Yeah. So I'm watching, I'm paying attention now and everything, and I'm paying attention to the policies and things that he was saying and things that other candidates were saying in the debate, and I seen a lot of red flags with Obama. Certain things that he wasn't bringing up, certain things that he wouldn't debate, he wouldn't challenge in the debate. Certain things he wouldn't want to talk about, like the Federal Reserve and how corrupt it is, and just certain things he was getting shut down at the debates, and he would not speak on it. But after a while, and I told people were like, yo, you voting for Obama, you voting for Obama? I was like, nah, I ain't voting. I would rather vote for this candidate because he's saying what needs to be said, like, you know what I mean? Or this, whoever's saying the things that need to be said, man, like about the corruption and the foul things that's going on behind the scenes. you know, that was my stance with Obama, you know what I mean? And everybody's like, well, he black.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta vote for the black man. I was like, yo, dog, that's not a reason to vote for somebody because they black.
They got this bloodline going on, and whether people believe it or not, it's very real. You know, you will not be an American president unless you are linked and part of this bloodline, and Obama is.
They put a lot of disinformation and misinformation on the internet, and because they know the young kids they interested, they trying to learn, they investigating, and so they know that. So they putting a lot of crazy videos with this one is Illuminati, this one is doing this, he's throwing up this symbol or whatever. But a lot of that is just fiction, man. It's just to confuse people even more from what's really going on. Like, there's really things going on behind the scenes. Like, that's very real. You know what I'm saying? There's no denying that. Like, look at the world that we live. Look what happened to our ancestors. Look, you think that happened for no reason? Nah, there's a system in place that they put in place to keep people under control. And look what they did to our people, dog. Like, that's the illest shit in the world, what they did to us. Like, you know what I mean? They brainwashed us and completely wiped out our history from the schools and from, that's a plan. They plan to do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely real.
Illuminati is just a word, first of all. You know what I mean? It means to be enlightened, you know, the illuminated ones or whatever, right? You know, the original Illuminati, that original concept, you know what I mean? It comes from, you know, the essence in Egypt, in ancient Egypt. You know what I mean? The original Masons, you know what I mean?
The Egyptian mystery schools.
Exactly. It comes from us. And they took our information, basically, and they're using it for evil. You know what I mean? So I just want to let people know the origin of this stuff. Like, they're taking our history, you know what I mean, my ancestors' history, knowledge, information, and they're using that power, which is God's power, and they're using it for evil.
What is the Illuminati? Like, if you could break down what it is that we're actually talking about when we say Illuminati.
It's a group that was formed like in the 1700s, something like that, 1600s. This dude named Adam Weishaupt, he started this group of people, like powerful, rich people that basically could shape popular opinion and the way, you know, the world is gonna move forward. The word means like the illuminated ones. Light is like information, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you see the light now. I found out the origin of the information that they were teaching. It basically comes from this group called the Essenes in Egypt. These are like the original black culture. They're like the scholars, doctors, scientists, esoteric thinkers, and they just knew how to do stuff. Like, for example, look at the pyramids. Nobody understands how the pyramids were built. These are the people that had that knowledge. The Eye of Horus, the pyramid, those are artifacts and things from black culture. They represent certain things of our people from ancient black history of Egypt. You know what I mean? Ancient Egypt. You got these group of people, they break into the tombs, they steal the riches, like the gold and the mummies, and they rape and pillage our culture. They got you thinking your own people and your own artifacts and your own symbolism is evil.
Man, one of the things you were talking about a lot while you were in prison was a lot of the conspiracy theory stuff, Illuminati stuff. Do you still believe that?
Yeah, it's real.
Can we bring this up real quick? It's just it's from your letter. I'm going to read it. It says, the exact moment in time when I discovered that the entire planet was being lied to and was put upon a spell to keep us unaware of it was back in 1996, around the time Biggie got locked up for the tech in his house. And then there was something else here that I thought was interesting. You said Jay-Z knows the truth, but he chose sides with evil in order to be accepted in the corporate. Jay-Z conceals the truth from the black community and promotes the lifestyle of the beast instead.
Jay-Z was just one example of, and one of the biggest examples of, you know, artists in the music industry, you know what I mean? Because he's so popular and so big, you know, the community where he comes from out there in Brooklyn, this is where, you know, the guy Dr. York is also from. And Jay-Z was part of that community, the Dr. York community, you know what I mean? And he had learned all that information that York was putting out and all the information that I know, you know what I mean? Jay-Z was learning that also. So he knows what time it is, you know what I mean? But he just doesn't promote it. Yeah, I mean, from the looks of things, looks like, that he has chosen sides. You know what I mean? For lack of a better term, he's chosen a side. You know what I mean? And the side that he chose is money, power, and he doesn't really care to spread any type of information that might help save somebody's soul.
It took me a long, long time to learn that everything happened for a reason in people's lives, and sometimes things happen for you to learn a lesson and for you to learn from it. Right before I got locked up, I started learning a lot about health and diet, and how a lot of things that the doctors would never tell my parents about diet and lifestyle that can actually almost, not I ain't gonna say cure, but it does actually, cure most ailments if you just change your diet and your way of thinking, you know what I mean, your lifestyle. And I started actually applying it to my life and doing that and eating the right things, and I started seeing that I wouldn't get sick anymore. It actually worked. And the doctors never told me that. I came out, with the intentions and with the plan on, giving back and doing the right thing and coming out and talking to kids and talking to parents, talking to people, just humans about, just doing the right things in life. The music that we make is hardcore rap music. What you put out there to the world, that's going to come back at you. It's called karma, and what goes around comes around. That's just how nature works. That's how life works. So you can't put out bad messages and bad energy. As I got older with my music, I started really focusing on putting the right message within the hardcore music still, without having to lose our fan base. And if you check the songs out, you're going to pick that up. I don't know if you ever picked it up before, but if you check our songs out, you'll pick it up now that I told you that.
America's fate. I was fast asleep, but now I'm wide awake. I was under the spell of King Ghoul and reserve notes. Religion and fashion, I used to be flashy till I had a total recall. Forgot what I already knew. It took me 33 years for me to see the truth. Took me 33 years for me to see the truth. Took me 33 years for me to see the truth.
1995 was the first time I ever heard about the Illuminati. It was in the verse. You on LL Cool J's I Shot You remix. And you said, Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body.
Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Secret society, trying to keep their army.
I wanted to put what I was learning into the music, but I didn't want to turn the fans off. So I decided to plant seeds. People not gonna understand what I'm talking about yet, but it's gonna make them curious. They have major programs, immunization programs where they're poisoning us, They're infecting us with stuff on purpose, and it's called population control. They have these programs they do in Africa where they immunize the whole village. They'll give them shots, and it's poison. They're killing them. They're giving them disease. They filling them up with mercury.
The bottom line is on 9/11, what they did was they killed 20 birds with one stone. You know what I'm saying? That's how I like to say it. You know what I mean? Because they changed all kinds of laws. They changed all kinds of they changed people's mentality, the way they look at the world. They pulled off one of the biggest ritualistic murders, you know what I mean? That ever happened, you know what I mean? Live for the whole world to see, you know what I mean? They lit the pentagram on fire, the Pentagon. That's a pentagram they set fire that day.
And so as you can see, as he decided to turn towards the light, his music kind of stagnated as far as having commercial success. I mean, he's a legend, a huge monumental figure in hip hop, in world culture, but he never hit heights like his opponents. Him and Jay-Z had a really strong rivalry, and Jay-Z, as Prodigy says himself, is a great example of somebody who did turn to the darkness, who did make that deal with the proverbial devil. And you can tell who made the deal because somebody like Prodigy won't mind telling us the truth, really telling us the truth, and putting his career, his personality, and everything on the line for the truth. Whereas people like Jay-Z are only going to give us, these financial truths or these business truths, but never the spiritual truths. And so when he started to turn his life around, that's when I think he really started to turn towards the light, and when he started to become demonically attacked, as we'll see.
I believe that there's definitely secret society. You know what I mean? I believe definitely maybe some of these label heads, like major labels and like major corporate companies, might have something to do with it, and they, might be involved with the agenda. You know what I mean? But
why do you think that is a conspiracy to lock you up?
there's a task force in New York called the Hip Hop Task Force, and
this really does exist.
Yeah, it really exists. The guy that started, his name is Derek Parker. You can go get his autobiography. He started the task force. He's from Mount Vernon. That was one of Heavy D people. The task force started for Puff, you know what I mean, and Heavy D and them niggas. That's why they started the task force, because Derek Parker's superiors, they didn't like the fact that Puff and Heavy and all of them was making all that money, and they thought something suspicious was going on. You know what I mean? They thought it was more than just rap music. So they hired Derek, and they told Derek to start this team to investigate these people, you know what I mean? And, it just grew from there. They started investigating other rappers, more rappers, and we just so happened to be one of the groups, Mobb Deep, that they've been investigating since like 94, 93, you know what I mean, since way back when we first came out. I didn't find that out till during my trial, though, you know what I mean? But I always knew that there was some type of task force watching people, because I would hear people talking about it. I would see certain things, and it was always just like a myth, though. I knew already that they were watching Mobb Deep. I knew they were watching G, you know what I mean, 50. These motherfuckers would arrest me for some little bullshit, right? And I used to talk to them. I used to be like, yo, I start getting in their heads, start manipulating these niggas and shit, getting them to talk to me. And I got them to tell me, yo, we've been assigned to Mobb Deep, G on it, we watching y'all. Derek Parker agreed to testify during my trial that this task force really exists, you know what I mean, because he's the one that started it. That night, when I laid down to go to sleep, all the lights was off in my room, and I'm laying there, and I seen a black shadow walk across my room. And it looked like, the only thing I could describe what it looked like the Black Spider-Man. So I just laid there, and I put the sheet over my head like a little kid, just like forced myself to go to sleep. And I woke up the next morning, the pain woke me up. I haven't been sick in 6 years. And I was in so much pain, I had to be carried to the hospital. I knew what happened automatically. I already knew what it was. I already knew what that black shadow was. It's a story that's told about this black shadows that attach themselves to people here on the earth. And they feed off of negativity. They feed off of anger. I said, oh shit. Like, that shit is real. And it showed itself to me. I was allowed to see it.
And so I believe because he was a powerful force and because he was working towards the light, that he was targeted not just by the physical agents and entities of this world like the Hip Hop Task Force, but as we'll see, he was targeted by demonic forces. And so you can see how he was born into a famous family and could have gone the route of commercial success and selling out, but had his awakening and was confronted with the choice of going for the darkness or the light, and decided to go for the light. And because he decided to go for the light, he began to become attacked, demonically attacked, and also was given the privilege by God to see the spiritual world, to see the other side for what it really is. And he was strong enough to handle that.
It's definitely not a joke, man. There's a lot of real stuff going on out here in this world. Secret societies are real. It's definitely very obvious, that they're at work, and it's at play in the music industry, in the food industry, politics. Everywhere you turn is everywhere. You just got to read the signs, you know what I mean? The writing on the wall, basically, is all in front of your face. Like this plan that they got into effect, and it's been in effect for hundreds of years or whatever. I think it's so embedded in people's brains now. They got people so brainwashed in this world that they don't even really care anymore about people like Alex Jones, people like Prodigy. Like, they're like, go ahead and tell the people all you want. We got these people so brainwashed, there's nothing you guys can do about it. Especially like in the hip hop world, in the hip hop community, in the urban communities where I come from. You know what I mean? They got us so brainwashed with fashion, jewelry, and sex, and all this stuff. We don't even care to even think about what's going on.
I've been given guidance, you know what I mean? Supernatural guidance that people wouldn't even understand if I tried to talk to them about it, you know what I mean?
So, and just being at one with what you're saying, you're talking about otherworldly experiences. And
supernatural experiences.
Yes.
To let me know that what I'm doing is right with the music and who I am, you know what I mean? I've been here before. This ain't my first time living on this planet. They've said I've been here many thousands of years. So I feel that hip-hop as a whole right now is just showing the world like how big it is. It's not just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In, you know, our little communities in the hood.
Exactly.
The whole world is influenced by it. We influence fashion, the entire world, the slang of the entire world, like, you know, just the whole culture of the world, period. It's really showing people the power, you know what I mean, and how, you know, how far it can reach and how many different things it can get into, like, you know what I mean? If I had more power to do what I wanted to do, I would be doing a lot more, you know what I mean, to try to help certain people that I feel deserve that help, like, you know what I mean, or whatever I can do, like, you know, even just talking to people or well, create opportunities, like, as far as like the labels, their interest is not the community, their interest is the music that they're selling. It's a business, like, you know what I mean? They're in the music business. They ain't in the community business. Like, I'd rather be more outspoken about, like, you know, injustices in the world and, like, the political system and just certain things like that where it needs to be a voice for that. Like, you know what I mean? Nobody needs to hear your opinion about who better rapper. Nobody really cares about that. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's already a topic everybody talks about. We need to talk about this more. Like, you know what I mean? So I had to learn that.
And I had to learn the hard way that, you know, you can't just push information on people. You know what I mean? They gotta want to know it. You know what I mean? They gotta want to change. You know, they gotta want that change in their life, man. You can't just make people, you know what I mean, change. That's something that's a phenomenon that has to happen on its own.
Like, I think the first step is to like change your attitude, yourself. Like, you know what I mean? How you carry yourself every day, how you feel about life every day when you wake up, and how you deal with other people, you know what I'm saying? That's the main problem that we have, is people's attitude. People have the wrong attitude, and it creates other problems in their life. It creates problems with the police, you know what I mean? It creates problems with just different people in their life. And you know, every problem starts with yourself. You gotta look at yourself first, see what you're doing wrong, see what needs adjusting, and then it goes outward to the rest of the world. Like, well, all right, now what's the next step? All right, well, let's find, you know, who can we get together that's like minds, and we can get more people like that, and then we start learning things and start, you know, maybe taking steps to finding out how can we change certain laws and bills and, you know what I mean, certain things. It's a process, man. And
you know, I had started slipping at some point, and I had to catch myself, you know what I mean, and look myself in the mirror like, yo, dogs, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, you really bugging right now. Now, it's time to go all the way, you know what I mean, because you're bugging, you know what I mean? So I had to catch myself, and I got to the point where I just got fed up, and I got pissed off, and I said, you know what? I'm not rocking jewelry no more, number one. I'm not doing certain things anymore, and I'm doing it to make a statement. You know what I mean? To let people say, why is P doing that? Let's listen to what he has to say. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I always say, like, God always wins at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Good always going to beat evil at the end of the day, man. No matter how bad it's looking, you know what I mean? No matter what's going on, you know what I mean? Good is always going to win.